Silent Hill, a town that calls a living to its domain. To an outside viewer, Silent Hill is an abandoned wasteland, a place on a map that once had life, but now is nothing more than history of unspeakable horrors. In the context of Silent Hill 2, we as the player experience the town through the eyes of James Sunderland, but we also interact with Angela, Eddie, Maria, and Laura while here. Angela, due to her past trauma, sees this place as nothing more than a literal inferno. Every day these burning flames grow and flicker. Slowly, they suffocate her will to live. Eddie, on the other hand, experiences Silent Hill in a way that is closer to a butcher with PTSD. He sees the town as one large meat-cutting room, as the beings contained within it are nothing more than bags of flesh. Ironically, due to Eddie's delusions, he too becomes what he loathed in the end. Maria's perspective on Silent Hill, which is shown in Born from a Wish, displays a somewhat normal abandoned town. Yet her interaction with James taints this image, and she too is pulled into his nightmare time and time again. And the only person that is left, and also happens to be a child, is Laura. Oddly enough, we as the player never get any insight into how Laura sees Silent Hill, yet we learn that she too is in Silent Hill to find Mary. And in this video, I wanted to explore the innocent but subtle ways Laura helps to move the plot along. But to do that, I would first like to take a look at a few key scenes involving Laura to learn more about who she is, as even to this day, we do not know where she came from and where she has gone. The first real interaction with Laura takes place on a sidewalk in the middle of Silent Hill. Note that I said real, as James's first interaction with her was technically in the apartments, where she childishly kicks a key from out of his reach and runs off. It is here where we get our first impression of Laura and come to realize that what she did before was exactly what a child would do.
You! It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
Huh? Are you blind or something?
What's that letter?
None of your business.
Alright, I had to stop it here. Imagine being told off by this random little girl when all you were doing was trying to make conversation. You will see going forward that Laura, at her core, is an honest person with no filter. This makes sense given her age, but more importantly, it provides insight into her level of social development. It is not uncommon for those in her age bracket to present similar replies in conversation. But more on that later.
You didn't love Mary anyway.
Wait! How do you know Mary's name?
In this next scene, we get to see how Laura interacts with other people outside of James. With hindsight being 2020 and us knowing what Eddie will go on to do, this meeting in particular could be considered strange to say the least.
So what'd you do? Robbery? Murder?
Nah, nothing like that.
Huh! You're just a gutless fatso.
What'd you have to say that for?
Here we go with another one-liner from Laura, calling out Eddie exactly how she sees him. Her blunt attitude could be considered cute at first, but it is apparent that this is a part of her personality. Perhaps it is her only method of breaking the ice in conversations, especially with adults.
I thought you said the cops were after you.
No, I just ran because I was scared. I don't know what the cops are doing.
But if you did something bad, why don't you just say you were sorry? Well, I guess I run away a lot too.
It's no good. They wouldn't listen.
One of the more interesting aspects of social development is how it differs for every individual. Here we see Laura ask Eddie, well, why didn't you just say sorry, as if an apology would end any conflict in his life. But then she immediately goes on to show a slither of self-awareness by stating that she too runs away from bad situations.
Nobody will ever forgive me. Did you find the lake you're looking for? What's her name? Mary?
Later on in the same scene, we not only get the iconic pizza line from James, but we also see Laura run off to her next destination. This is the third encounter with her for James, and each time they cross paths, it appears that she strings him along to the next destination. Perhaps it's by coincidence, or perhaps by design.
Laura, is that her name?
That's what she said.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
She said she was fine by herself. She said a fatso like me would just slow her down.
Forget you. Laura?
Huh? You know my name?
Eddie told me.
That big fat blabbermouth.
How do you know about Mary?
What's the big deal?
Why can't you just tell me?
You gonna yell at me if I don't?
No, I won't.
Hopefully you picked up on Laura's line right here. She has had one conversation with James up to this point, yet her demeanor shows that either she knows more about him than one would think, or when faced with authority, she becomes defensive. It is clear throughout this scene that there is some sort of tension between her and James, and it's growing. Fast forwarding through this same scene a bit, we have learned that not only did Laura go to the same hospital as Mary, but they were also friends, so it is not unreasonable for Laura to know of James at least when in conversation with Mary. But as the rest of this scene unfolds, we see once again how Laura tests James to see if he's strong enough to handle the truth. Well, that's what I would like to say, but at this point, we know that Laura does not see the same things that he, Eddie, or Angela do.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did.
You're here to find Mary, aren't you, James? Well, have you?
No. Is that why you're here too?
She's here, isn't she? If you know where she is, tell me. I'm tired of walking.
It is here in the Lakeshore restaurant that we find why Laura is in Silent Hill. She too is looking for Mary and may have seen this whole ordeal as nothing more than a wicked game of hide and seek. She then proceeds to share with James the letter she received from Mary, the letter that brought her here. Now this letter does have some interesting tidbits as it shows the kind side of Mary and her relationship with Laura, as we never got to see how they were in the hospital together. But the most important part of this letter is the end of it. Mary states that she loves Laura like she was her own daughter, and if things had worked out differently, she would have adopted her. We also learn that Laura's age is 8.
I turned 8 last week.
So, Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. That's why I'm here.
It is simple as that, people. Laura was in search of the one person in the world that made her feel like the child she was. But one question I cannot help but ask myself is how in the hell did she get here in the first place?
Maybe you'll get it if you see the other letter. The one Mary... Huh? I must have dropped it.
Laura!
I gotta find it.
Laura!
In this final scene where Laura confronts James about Mary, we get to see just how much Mary meant to Laura. Though she is just a child, her reaction to a lady she met while in the hospital is one of anger and sadness. We know that Laura is an orphan, but in terms of how she became one is unknown. It, however, is clear, though, that she became attached to Mary.
So there you are, James. Did you get the letter? Did you find Mary? If not, get going already, okay?
Laura. Mary's gone. She's dead.
Liar, that's a lie!
No, that's not true.
She died because she was sick?
Remember my reference to social development in an earlier part of this video? Laura hits the nail on its head with this reaction once more. Taking a look at James's body language here and the fact that he said Mary was dead would be a good indicator to a teenager or an adult that something is indeed wrong here. But with Laura being only 8 years old at this time, it can be difficult for her to process death or the loss of someone she cares about.
No, I killed her.
You killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back! Give her back to me!
It is important to note this particular line Laura just said. It is not uncommon for a child to want to see death as something reversible, but from her continued outbursts onward, we also see her wrestle with reality and that death in itself is final. It is also at this point that we see Laura walk away from James without saying another word to him. It is truly a powerful scene.
I knew it! You didn't care about her! I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why? Why?
Now, depending on the player's choices throughout the game, the previous scene I just covered may end up being the last time that they see Laura. To those who get the leave ending, we see James and Laura leave from Silent Hill together, but either way results in the end of Laura's part in the game. Though she is but a child, I feel as though James's journey would not have been as impactful as it was to the player without her guidance. Now, I'm not saying Laura was sent by Mary to guide James to his redemption or anything like that. I am just saying that Laura's intervention in James's journey should not be undermined. She acted like a firefly in a room full of darkness that slowly led James to the light. I have found Laura to be a fascinating character who bounces on a seesaw of too little and too much. While it is obvious that she harbors no real hate in her heart, nor experiences the evil of the town called Silent Hill, I cannot help but wonder what happened to her before this incident and after. With the remake of Silent Hill 2 on the horizon now, I am quite interested in seeing if there is any additional information provided about Laura. She has remained just as mysterious today as she was 2 decades ago.